The AR platform is so popular because it's soft shooting, the platform is super modular and just kind of makes sense and is pretty darn accurate. But what if an AK also ticked all of those boxes? What if it were made in America with a milled receiver? This is the Sharps Bros and Century Arms collaboration of the MB47. And it's pretty much exactly that. This is an AK for AR bros, and I'll kind of dive into what that means and looks like here. So first and foremost, traditional AK guys are probably crawling in their skin, to use a Linkin Park reference, because it has a traditional buffer tube with a buffer tube type stock. This is the Magpul DT stock, which is, you know, a pretty solid stock. And coming to the front of the rifle, there is a US Palm handguard that is free floated with M-LOK capable rails. So if you want to mount white lights and stuff like that, you certainly can. But check it out, you can actually deflect the handguard to one side or the other based on how it's hit. So it's probably not the best for something that has to be zeroed, but is perfectly fine for white lights and things like that. It's got a optics mount on the side of the gun. So this is an RS Regulate mounted battle worn finish because it's so tactical. But realistically, I just like to get the optic closer back to my eye, and this allows you to do that. The barrel is a fluted barrel, as you can see there, taking some of the weight out of the rifle. However, the gun is not a light gun. It comes in at about 8 pounds. Over on the ARFCOM Reviews channel, I was shooting it with those guys. You should check out their video review on it as well. And we were shooting it next to the Zastava M70, and the M70 was, you know, kind of occupying the same space in the market as this rifle, but we, I think, all agreed that we kind of like this rifle better. The other AR type things that it has going for it is the reloads. It has an oversized paddle release, makes it very easy to strip magazines, but also more importantly, it's very, very easy to seat magazines. You don't have to be like super precise and hold your tongue just right to get the mags to lock in on this rifle. They just kind of fly in there, which is pretty nice. The other thing is the trigger. AKs notoriously do not have the best triggers. I'll show this to you. This is the Century Arms RAK1 trigger, which they are, you know, beginning to offer for the AK platform. And it has a nice defined wall, and it has a very positive reset, and it's a very shootable trigger. If you're running fast, especially with that flat blade on the trigger, as you see there, it's just a very, very shootable trigger. You have excellent control over the rifle. Now, is it like a Geisley or something like that? Hyperfire kind of trigger? No, it is not, but it's also not terrible. Like, it's actually pretty darn good. And finally, the fancy barrel that we talked about is threaded, and it comes with a compensator right out of the box. You can see Century Arms' new compensator for AKs comes at the end of the barrel, and it does a very good job keeping the muzzle rise to a minimum and really kind of taming the 7.62 round that the rifle is chambered in. Now let's talk about how the rifle actually shoots. The rifle is incredibly tame to shoot, and we had an easy time kind of going ankle deep in brass, just pulling triggers on this thing. Traditionally, I haven't loved AKs. I just felt like, you know, as a plinker, they weren't the most fun. I have a lot of respect for the 7.62 round, and they make incredible hog guns, which is what the future probably holds for this bad boy. But this rifle absolutely keeps up with ARs and how shootable it is. And I think a lot of it has to do with the break that comes at the end of it. I guess it's technically a compensator, and the fact that this buffer stock kind of sits just a little bit higher than the barrel, so it's getting higher in your shoulder pocket, kind of helping combat muzzle climb. When shooting this side by side with the M70, it was notably softer to shoot. Some of that's going to come from the weight, as it is that 8-pound rifle, but I mean, it's just a really nice rifle to shoot. I actually really enjoy shooting the thing. The accuracy that we got out of it, I mean, I didn't have a magnified scope when we sat down and tried to rest the magazine on a bag and shoot at distance, but it was reasonably respectable, and we were out there and shooting a different rifle with a magnified scope and shot roughly the same group as an AR platform kind of DMR style rifle that was not up to the task. My eyes simply are not good enough for unmagnified 100-yard shooting to print impressive groups. But that is going to kind of be part of one of the negatives, as it is a 7.62x39 rifle. There's not like super readily available high quality like match grade ammunition available. But what we were able to find, we were able to get, you know, consistently decent accuracy out of, and it was super reliable, as you would want from any AK. We tried, I don't know, I think it was 4 or 5 different loads of ammunition. It was New Republic, PPU, White Box, Bellum. I think that's it. I think that we tried 4 different loads out of the AK, and we got great results out of all of it. No problems whatsoever with any of it. I tried probably 5 different types of magazines. We used the X-Tech US Palm. It comes with 1 US Palm magazine, by the way. Magpul, there was a generic plastic mag that I bought off one of the ammo websites. It was $5. I don't even remember what it's called. And it worked there as well as an old, like a surplus metal magazine, and all of it worked out of the rifle no problem. The only other con is the finish on the receiver is, you know, not the greatest. You can see all of the little marks and stuff coming through on the finish, and in traditional, you know, AK style, it's got the little line from the safety kind of rubbing on the side of the receiver, and, you know, no big deal. It's holding up well enough, but, you know, it's certainly not going to be a showpiece. The safety out of the box was very heavy. Just through a little bit of monkeying with it, was able to get it into a spot that kind of makes sense and made it very usable. One thing I noticed shooting the thing pretty quick, going magazine after magazine, is that the Ultimac rail up front does sort of heat up. It doesn't get unpleasant to touch, but it lets you know it's there. But the handguard transmits 0 of the heat, as it is free floated and it is aluminum. Now, one thing about this as far as value is concerned, it is what I would consider a mid-price tier. YouTube's being weird about saying prices in videos, so I won't say it, but I think that the value is substantiated against the other kind of rifles in the segment doing what this tries to do. Between just kind of the creature comforts of easy to reload and the nice trigger and the compensator, to just being very well made and just being super sturdy with that milled receiver. It's just a very, very, you know, nice piston gun that you can get for, you know, a reasonable price. And it's a lot of fun to shoot, and I mean, the 7.62x39 is a plenty capable round. Thanks to Century Arms for sending this in. I have enjoyed my time with it. I think it would make a super awesome kind of pig gun. I mean, since it does have a threaded barrel, shooting it suppressed may be something in the cards as well. I just think it's a really, really cool rifle. Be sure and check out the review on the ARFCOM Reviews channel. There is more information there as well. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.